Product owner is a misunderstood job in many organizations, yet there's a soaring demand year after year. If you're keen on becoming a product owner, here's an interview prep guide containing the product owner question and answers to help you become more confident. Here's a list of 20 beginner, intermediate, and advanced interview questions to ensure that you are on the right track. What's the difference between Agile and Scrum? Are they the same? The Agile Manifesto consists of values and principles to develop software iteratively and incrementally. Scrum is a framework that consists of accountabilities, artifacts, and events that helps in creating and sustaining complex products. Scrum is one of the foundations for agility. In general, we call Agile a mindset, and Scrum is a framework that helps adopt an Agile mindset. As a product owner, do you participate in story grooming or user story splitting and estimation discussion? The product owner participates in product backlog refinement to groom stories and epics. Well-refined stories help developers in estimating and forecasting. The product owner provides business context for user stories and helps split epics and user stories. What is a roadmap? How do you develop a strategic roadmap? A product roadmap is a guide that outlines where a company plans to go and how soon they plan to get there. A good product roadmap helps companies organize, prioritize, and communicate their long-term goals and strategies. While creating a roadmap, the following aspects should be considered. Product strategy to achieve product goals. Priorities based on business value. Product development accountability. Product timeline. Define the term velocity in Agile. How do you measure it? Velocity is the sum of completed user story points within a sprint. This can give you an idea of how much work a Scrum team can do in upcoming sprints. For example, if the team has pulled 5 stories worth 30 story points and completed all by the end of the sprint, the team velocity is 30. What techniques does a product owner typically use in backlog prioritization? The product owner uses 5 strategies for backlog prioritization. $100 test. Stack ranking. Kano model. Cost of delay. Moscow method. What purpose does Release Burndown Chart serve? The Release Burndown Chart depicts the work yet to be completed by tracking the sprint status. The x-axis shows the number of sprints, while the y-axis portrays the remaining work. What is the definition of done? Who decides it? DoD is a mutual understanding within the Scrum team on making your product increment releasable. The development team decides it. Who decides the sprint goal? The Scrum team decides the sprint goal during the sprint planning, where a product owner comes up with a clear business objective. Explain the distinction between committing and estimating. When Agile teams work on the product backlog, they break it down into smaller bits and align them into a roadmap for delivery. This process takes a high-level view of an item's completion, functional approach, and complexity. Estimates tell us what it takes to deliver the item. Commitments are promises made by Agile teams assuring item delivery during their sprints or in a release. What does the cone of uncertainty mean? The cone of uncertainty describes reducing the uncertainty about scope after each sprint. There can be a lot of variability at the beginning of a project, which may lead to higher uncertainty in estimation as the team progresses. Variability starts reducing, and so is uncertainty in predictability. What is the purpose of release management? Release management helps you provide value to your customers by coordinating the work that goes into deploying new features and bug fixes. Release management plans for each deployment must include development, testing, and release timelines with actionable tasks assigned to specific stakeholders. How does the PO screen the user stories before putting an idea in a backlog as a product backlog item? While the product owner should welcome new ideas and give them serious consideration, ultimately, they have to filter out only those ideas that will effectively create what your company is looking for. All new ideas need objective analysis, and this analysis can include test runs with customers in the form of pilots. Every idea needs to be carefully evaluated before it can be incorporated into your product backlog, especially when deciding which ones are worth including. What's the best way for a product owner to deal with uncooperative stakeholders? The best way to get your stakeholders on board is to show them how their presence is valuable and why they should care about the Agile methodology. Involve them in regular meetings and discussions between the team members, product owner, and other stakeholders to understand how it works. If things still don't change, find a sponsor to help convince them of why they should pay attention. Facilitate workshops or training events where everyone can learn what Agile development means and how it will benefit everyone involved. What are systems thinking? How important is it for a PO to have? Systems thinking is vital to good product management. A holistic perspective enables the strategy of a product to be understood, along with an increased ability to predict any environmental changes that might affect it. The product owner needs to have an in-depth understanding of a product and have others who are also integral parts of a team responsible for it. It means people from different groups must work towards the same shared goal and not on their agendas simply. Elaborate on the Moscow technique used for backlog prioritization. The Moscow technique is one of the most popular tools used for backlog prioritization. The acronym Moscow stands for MO, must be. S, should be. CO, could be. W, won't be. M is the highest priority, while W is the lowest priority. Does the product owner have a veto over release stories? As a product owner, you are the face of the client or your customer. This means you have full authority over what goes into releases and when they should be delivered. You are, therefore, responsible for any requirements being supplied. You have the power to veto releases, but only regarding technical debt, which can only be taken care of by developers, as they will take ownership of it from here on out. How does the product owner optimize the value of the development team's work? The product owner optimizes the value ordering of the product backlog based on business value, risk, size, and dependencies to ensure the Scrum team also works on the most valued user stories all the time. Developing high-valued stories is not enough, so product owners must provide timely feedback from the end user by releasing the product early. A product owner measures revenue by optimizing cost, tracking usage index, and customer satisfaction. That helps product owners to maximize the value of their products. What do you mean by a decent product backlog item? A decent product backlog item should meet the DEEP criteria dash. D denotes detailed appropriately. E denotes estimated. E denotes emergent. P denotes prioritized. Do you need a PO for a DevOps team? Yes, a DevOps team helps develop the product, which is done by working with the product team. But you need a product owner to work on providing any doubts that might arise daily, since the DevOps team doesn't have direct contact with customers, using their expertise and knowledge of how use cases are worked upstream in the entire development process. How do you sync the product roadmap with the product backlog and user stories? Some errors can occur when you have a product roadmap that doesn't align with the product backlog and user stories. The problem is that the product roadmap describes what products and features will be to realize the vision, who is responsible for building those products and features, and sometimes even an estimate of when they will be released. Thus, it should generate user stories for the team's product backlog, which should have a one-to-one relationship with your product roadmap. If not, some issues may ultimately hold you back before planning your overall strategy.